What's up, everybody? This is Strings and Sweaters. My name is Tim, and today I wanted to talk about who is the next GOAT and give you some of my rookie QB rankings with honorable mentions. Okay, so let's get into this. So with Tom Brady retiring, that is sort of the last of the GOATs. Of course, we have Aaron Rodgers still floating around, but I don't see Aaron Rodgers staying with the Green Bay Packers. And once he's on to a new team, I don't really know how many more years he has in him. I actually would probably predict he retires also this season. So we are nearing the total end of the GOATs. And we do have mid-tier quarterbacks like Matthew Stafford, Kirk Cousins. And those guys, they're not going to be GOATs, and they are already, too well past their prime to say that they can turn it around. But we have a whole lot of rookies emerging in the NFL, and I'm going to go over my rankings of the most likely to become the next GOAT. Now, will they be as big of a GOAT as Tom Brady? I do not know. We'll see. I'm making this video because I want to go back in 10 years and watch this and see how my predictions basically panned out. So let's get to number one. So I'm not going to have to hold you guys any longer in suspense. We're just going to say it right now, and this shouldn't be my controversial pick. It is Patrick Mahomes. I hate Patrick Mahomes, but at the same time, he is greatness. I mean, this guy takes his team to the Super Bowl, and he is an amazing passer. He studies the game. He's super mature already. And the deal he's gotten from the Chiefs just shows that they have his back for basically his entire career. He is their franchise QB. There's really no downside to Patrick Mahomes. He's had some injuries. He's had some lapses. But because they've already won a Super Bowl, he will always be a threat to win another one. And he's probably going to retire a Chief. This dude is just amazing, and I see him getting better into his old age, sort of how we saw Peyton Manning get better when he went to the Broncos. All right, number 2 on my list, I have Josh Allen. And yes, Josh Allen has not made the Super Bowl yet, but he is carrying his team. And all he needs is a little bit of help around him. Yes, he has Stephon Diggs, but, obviously you need a full team nowadays in the NFL. You need a good running back. You need a good defense. And Josh Allen, without those things and a struggling offensive coordinator this year, has gotten them very far into the playoffs and just is smashing numbers already in his early years. And Josh Allen is a guy I see as he gets older to just age like fine wine. He reminds me a lot of Ben Roethlisberger, and even Ben Roethlisberger, with all of his, difficulties with injuries and his motorcycle accident, still was an amazing quarterback late into his career. That's why I'm putting Josh Allen number 2. Number 3, we're going to go with Joe Burrow. And something that was kind of obvious to me as the Bengals lost to the Chiefs was that Joe Burrow is not a guy who's going to carry his team to the Super Bowl. He will get you there if you have a good team around him. He will not carry a bad team and win the Super Bowl. Now, it's hard to say what quarterbacks here could do that. I think we know with those top 2 that they could, but we haven't necessarily seen them have just an all-out bum team and then them be able to get their, team to the Super Bowl and win it. Obviously, the GOAT Tom Brady, has so many times. Just because that dude is a beast when it comes to studying film, and he's really like no other. Now, Joe Burrow, the reason he's 3, the main reason is he has an injury history. In his first season, he tore his ACL, and we don't know, especially with, the Bengals are going to have to pay him soon, and they're not going to have the money to sort of really build back up that offensive line. So we don't know how that will affect his health. But Joe Burrow's one guy where I could see him, being a franchise quarterback for the Bengals, but possibly getting injured later on in his career and not being able to, play into an older age. But obviously, I wish the best for him. I just see salary cap issues with the Bengals right now, and you already have an organization that is not so stable when it comes to coaching staff. But there's really no problems that we see right now with the Bengals. That's why he's number 3. Now let's look at number 4. I have Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence showed a lot of improvement this year, and he really showed a lot of maturity. I mean, it's his first time going into the playoffs, and they were able to come back and win in that amazing comeback. So I think Trevor Lawrence has the most room to grow of any of these quarterbacks right now. That's why I have him so high on my list. I just see the Jaguars also acquiring more, draft picks in the future years. And really, once they have the weapons around him, I could see Trevor Lawrence winning at least 4 Super Bowls. That's my hot take. All right, next on number 5, I have Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts looks awesome on the Eagles. He has an amazing throwing arm, awesome mobility as a quarterback. The one thing about Jalen Hurts is just where he's at. Philly, unfortunately, you guys run your players out of town, and it's sad. You really don't want to stay with, you had Andy Reid as your coach, you had Carson Wentz. You really don't want to stay with players for too long, even back to, guys like, Michael Vick and like McNabb. It's just players don't seem to stay in Philly, and that's because Philly's a hard place to, be a franchise anything. So Jalen Hurts, we'll see if he wins the Super Bowl. I'm going to be rooting for him since I hate Patrick Mahomes. If he does, he goes up at least a spot. He goes over Trevor Lawrence, because then he has, a tie to a Super Bowl in Philly, their second Super Bowl of all time. And, that's pretty historical, and he'll hopefully be healthy in the next coming years and stay healthy. So number 6, I have Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert, out of these last few quarterbacks, is the least talented, but he's in the best position. The Chargers had Phillip Rivers his entire career, never really had a chance of winning a Super Bowl, but they stuck with him to the end. And I see the Chargers still as that organization to do that, and I think they will stick with Justin Herbert. I don't see him getting many injuries. He's not the kind of guy to put himself in harm's way, and I think that he may get a chance to go to a Super Bowl, but I don't see any pressure on him. And maybe that's the problem with his talent and this sort of ceiling he's hitting, is there will never be that kind of pressure on him to make the Super Bowl. But we'll see. Maybe the Chargers will have a change in, a change in regime, and they will push him or they will trade him. But I don't see that happening. But I think Justin Herbert is in a safe place, and he's definitely going to be in the NFL for a really long time. Next, we have a question mark here at 7. So I got Kenny Pickett. He shows amazing growth in just his first season. Obviously, I'm going to be super biased as a Steelers fan, but I know the Steelers franchise, and I know the team, and I know that we are going to stick with one quarterback who we see as the guy. Now, will we see Kenny as the guy? I think we already do. The fans are behind him, and he has so many weapons. And I really want to bring up how good the Steelers are at drafting wide receivers and this personnel for the quarterback. And I think Kenny is going to have weapons for years to come. He's not going to be the same situation as Ben Roethlisberger. He doesn't play the same. But we're going to adapt to that. Coach Tomlin is, a solid coach, and he will figure out an offense for him. And I think Kenny Pickett has the potential to win a Super Bowl in Pittsburgh. How many? Probably just one. Maybe we'll return and lose. But I do see Kenny Pickett as being our franchise quarterback and seeing him retiring as a Steeler. That's a really hot take, and it's really so early in his career, but I do see that as a possibility. Now, at number 8, we have Justin Fields. Justin Fields does not seem to have the talent, but he has the organization fully behind him and the draft picks. He's going to get tons of weapons throughout these next years as the Bears keep having terrible records. So I see his arm talent. If it can get better, I see him getting to the playoffs and giving the Bears maybe an NFC championship. But I don't really ever see him winning a Super Bowl. That's why I have him lower on this list. He's just not really the kind of player. He doesn't have he doesn't have what they call the measurables to be that kind of quarterback. Next on the list, I have number 9, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, really, he needs an offense that's built around him, and I really see him not being with the Ravens in a few years. I mean, this time around, if he does sign, he barely was able to sign with them, and I'm really worried about if he goes to another team, they're not going to have the offense or take the time to build an offense around him, and his arm is already very struggling. Also with injuries this season, just running like that, and that's his main game plan, is just not going to have him be able to be a mature quarterback or an old quarterback in this league. So that's why I have him so low on my list. I just don't see this deal turning out good. Even if he does stay on the Ravens or sign a deal, I don't see it turning out well. And I think there's going to be lots of problems. Now, number 10, I have Kyler Murray. So Kyler Murray's extremely talented, but he's not dedicated. We saw that in his recent signing. They wanted him to basically dedicate hours to watching film because they saw that improved that he wasn't in the past seasons. He's a huge diva, super hard to work with. Basically ran his coach Cliff Kingsbury out of Arizona. And he also has passed his phase of getting help from the Cardinals. So the Cardinals were able to get D-Hop for him. They were able to get tons of talent around him. And he really doesn't have the, physical ability to get to the Super Bowl. And the Cardinals are a team that do want to get to the Super Bowl and will not put up with a quarterback just consistently getting them to the first round of playoffs and losing. I see Kyler Murray getting traded in the next 4 years. And once he gets traded, it's going to be all based on his talent if he wants to stay in the NFL or not. I'm not saying Kyler Murray will be run out of the NFL. I just do not really see the guy having a future with the Cardinals. And once he's on another team, he's going to really have to mature a lot. The dude's immature. He's got short man syndrome, I guess. But, all right, so next, number 11, I have Jordan Love. Jordan Love is coming into a really good spot. I do see Jordan Love as the starting quarterback for the Packers next year. I think Aaron Rodgers will be going to either Tampa Bay or the Colts or the Raiders. We'll see, or he'll retire. But Jordan Love, we don't really know what his talent is. I'm guessing it's mid-tier level. But he does have an organization behind him and a lot of good young wide receivers and talent in Green Bay. And a good coach, too, to help him. So, Jordan Love at number 12. We'll go through these a little bit faster. I have Malik Willis. He has a good chance to start next year on a good team, but we don't really know what he would look like in the NFL yet. Trey Lance, he's on a good team, but he's already injury prone, and he did not play well when he was healthy. But I do see, that big trade they made to get him as some value behind him, which puts him above our next quarterback, which is Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy really wowed us in the playoffs this year. He beat Brady. He got to the NFC Championship. I mean, Brock Purdy will fizzle out, though. The heat will fizzle out, and he is definitely he's definitely a lifetime backup, and it's hard to say that, but he is. He's a backup quarterback, and he reminds me a lot of Nick Foles, how Nick Foles was able to heat up the team and get the team behind him, but he's doesn't really have a future being a starter. Maybe for a few more seasons, he'll find ways to start on teams that really just need that quick quarterback to patch them up, but I don't see him, really being the main guy for the 49ers. 49ers may just draft another quarterback in a few years here. And then we have we have number 14, we have number 15, we have Tua. Tua, honestly, with the injuries he got this year, I don't see him being able to stay in the NFL. I think he's probably going to retire in the next 2 years or a year. All right, and then lower than Tua, I have Drew Lock. He is a certified career backup. Drew Lock could not even beat out Geno Smith for the starting job. And he's on the Seahawks, which do not care about developing him at all. And I have next Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson has let the Jets down, and you don't really go anywhere up once you're on the Jets. You are going to be treated as a backup, a rental for a season, and then get kicked out of this league. So Zach Wilson, unless you make major changes and improvements, I don't see you even staying in the league. Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask is the only quarterback right now signed to the Buccaneers after Tom Brady retired. He looks good, but the decision making isn't there, and that's something I was hoping that he would have learned from Brady, but I don't know if Brady was obligated to teach this guy anything, so we'll see. Also, the Buccaneers are probably just going to change their coaching staff and then go for that, draft bait, quarterback once they have a terrible season with Kyle Trask this year, or if they start, I don't even know who's Tom Brady's evil twin. I'm not going to remember it, but whoever is their backup quarterback. That's the other thing is like Kyle Trask has literally been third QB on the chart, which is terrible for his development. And in this last game, which meant nothing, and they played their backups, they didn't even play Kyle Trask. It's horrible. I mean, I don't know how they expect him to come out next season and being the starter, which means that they probably don't expect him to be, which means they'll probably bring in a veteran quarterback like Derek Carr or someone, Kirk Cousins possibly, I don't know, or even the guy from the Titans. I don't know, I can't remember this dude's name. He's that forgettable. Tannehill. Anyhow, Kyle Trask, I don't even see him as a career backup if he doesn't get the starting job and prove something. So, all right, then we have Davis Mills. He's just going to get phased out. They're going to have to draft in Houston. Sam Ellinger, he's on the Colts, and they will have a sort of ambiguous coaching staff, so I could see him getting the starting job just because how crazy it's going to be over there next year. But he's just not talented enough. Honorable mentions, we have Sam Howell on the Commanders. Commanders, terrible organization, and it's a terrible place to play quarterback at. They're just going to keep making bad decisions. Desmond Ridder looked okay on the Falcons, but you have a young Marcus Mariota there giving him competition that he probably will never be able to beat. And then Bailey Zappi on the Patriots. Mac Jones will stay on the Patriots until the Patriots draft another quarterback, Bailey Zappi. Don't really know what future he has. Now, will any of these quarterbacks be able to put up the numbers and the Super Bowl wins that Tom Brady has been able to do in his career? The easy answer is no. It's just impossible. Tom Brady is truly the GOAT, and it's very sad that he's retired. I know people hate Tom Brady and think he doesn't deserve all the credit he gets, but he really is truly an amazing quarterback. So it's been amazing to grow up watching Tom Brady play for the Patriots and then watching him win another Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. But that was my list, and that is who I think will be our future of the NFL, discounting our rookies in this year's draft. Thank you guys for watching this whole video. Please subscribe. New videos out later this week. I appreciate you guys watching so much. This is Strings and Sweaters. Peace out.